What is up YouTube, and welcome to this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. video. We got another take on the Groundhog Day trope, which is actually in the forefront once more after Hulu's smash hit came out a couple of weeks ago, the Andy Samberg movie Palm Springs, which I also have a video on this channel if you wanted to check that out. So after last week's episode, this is even more self-contained as it simply just takes place on the Zephyr. Usually single location bottle episodes are not really my favourite, just like that infamous Breaking Bad episode where they spent the whole episode looking for a fly. But this episode was something special and was possibly one of the best of the season so far. So before we dive into the episode breakdown, please do consider subscribing with notifications on to never miss a video, and drop a like if you did enjoy the video, and let's jump into this heartbreaking episode. So we start as Daisy wakes up to see Sousa waiting to see her recover, but the issue is most of the Zephyr is actually failing as the time drive overloads and they are pulled into a major time storm vortex hybrid, which if they enter, they will not only die, but they will cease to ever exist. Yes, we're in some sort of Back to the Future moment here, with Deke not even knowing how the science of it even works. And Matt gets blinded and Yo-Yo is stuck on the Quinjet. And everything continues to go completely wrong as Daisy goes to the drive, but suddenly pauses and is thrown into a time loop and wakes up again Groundhog Day style, or Happy Death Day style to have an updated reference for you there. Except she doesn't have to become a good person to escape or find her killer. She just needs to, actually fix the time drive. Each day repeats and repeats, and she goes to Simmons for help, but she actually wakes up the LMD Coulson, who is well aware that this is all happening, and this is about the 14th time she's woken him up, but they're about the 87th loop of everything, which is absolutely tiresome, but she doesn't remember it all. If she dies, it resets, but if she gets overwhelmed by the time thing, then that is that, and she can carry on and remember everything. But Daisy believes that only Coulson and her can remember what is actually going on because they are waking up in futuristic sleeping pods. Of course, she is in the pod after what happened with Nathaniel Malik, and LMD Coulson is, in sleep mode, I guess. So they continue their mad dash to try and save the day, but they keep looping. The ship is still getting closer and closer to the event horizon, and to them not existing anymore, because they get closer and Daisy notices that first it was 94 kilometers away and then it's 70 something kilometers. So when they explain this all to Deke, he goes to Simmons secretly and mentions that they need to disable the implant in her neck, which is what she actually has, so she can never remember where Fitz is, because as you remember last season, they got the whole history of everything and all the secrets of S.H.I.E.L.D. when they were in that same sleeping pod. And they can do it against their will. So that's not looking good, and that's why she has this. And the problem is, they need to fix the time drive, so in some sort of a catch-22 situation here. So she agrees to use a scanner, but she suddenly dies, and it's a bit curious there. And they try again with Daisy in the room, but then they find out that gas is leaking and sabotage is afoot. Someone is willing to kill Simmons to stop the implant from being deactivated and thus stop Fitz's locations from actually being found. The main suspects are, of course, Deke and Enoch. We can probably rule out Simmons because, she's the one who keeps dying, and those two also helped keep secret the actual implant in the first place, and they would probably have the most knowledge of how to, sabotage it, I would guess. Sousa then takes a scanner, as they were focused on Simmons the whole time, but he takes it, dies, and it's also been sabotaged. But we also have a touching moment when Coulson and Daisy are frustrated about the whole thing. They can't stop it, and he says that it's soul crashing, if he actually has a soul, to watch Daisy and the rest of the crew die, repeating and repeating everything. I have to say, Clark Gregg's acting here was superb, and it's nice to give him something really to work with. They realise that it must be Enoch, as he is the one who could have been programmed to make it look like he was innocent, but it might be some secret program in there to protect the implant at all costs. And of course, well, he wouldn't remember that that actually happened. We had some funny scenes in the episode when we start to see Enoch single-handedly destroy Daisy and Coulson, and subsequently the whole squad as they look despondent. But they have to succeed, otherwise, they'll die. So, in a touching moment again, Daisy also asks Sousa why is he so ready to stand by her, and he's there to support people who are headstrong and ready to do the right thing, and he's essentially describing the stubborn Peggy Carter, and boy, I absolutely ship this hard. Both deserve to be very happy there. But in a heartbreaking moment, Simmons finally remembers everything, but there's only one way to actually fix the time drive. It's actually to remove a part of Enoch that acts as a Chronicon's heart, essentially meaning he will perish, but everyone else will survive. And he instantly removes it and hands it to them because they're his friends and he's started to become more human. Enoch finally starts to feel lonely as it's the end. He spent thousands of years observing, but the end is here. And it's a very touching scene that almost reduced me to tears. I'm not a Chronicon. I'm absolutely dead inside. He is no more and the team survived to escape the time loop. I'm gutted Enoch is actually gone because he's my second favourite character on the show, apart from Deke. But last week, Nathaniel did take over Afterlife, and he's now training Cora to use her powers. Considering just how powerful they were without any training, she will be a formidable enemy of S.H.I.E.L.D. if this actually works. He says how her little sister is going to be impressed, which is, of course, Daisy. I would have liked to see that bombshell be revealed this episode, but it's going to be a bit better next week when we see Ji Yang return. Overall, it was a stunning episode with everyone's performance honed and authentic while being touching, and easily the best episode of the season and probably in the last few seasons, to be honest. Now, next week we have a really interesting trailer as the team return to Afterlife, which seemingly Nathaniel has now fully taken over, and they are still in 1983 as we see Ji Yang return and says that Daisy reminds her of something. Funny that. And Nathaniel seems to be looking for new Inhumans to start an Inhuman army. Now, Coulson wants to stop him because, well, if he survives, it will cause irreparable damage to the time stream, because considering there was the whole 1989 and then the war against the Inhumans a couple of seasons ago, that wouldn't happen because, well, it's happening now. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go next week, but I'm excited. This is a really good season so far. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you enjoy the episode? Let me know your favourite moment. Please do drop a like as well, it does help us out massively, and do as well subscribe with notifications on, as not a lot of you are actually getting them due to YouTube being sucky. But I'll see you soon, and goodbye.